Hello, my friends. I am so excited to be with you on this live today and hopefully answer all the questions you have been peppering me about since I first announced that I am releasing my first book, The Peer Revolution. Thank you for the support and the DMs and the comments and the emails of, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. How can I help? I hope that by the end of this live, you are leaving here with two very tangible ways that you can help. And thank you for offering. In addition to that, I'm popping on here in your feed today to accomplish four things. The first is to share why I wrote the book. The second is what it's about. The third is who it's for. And then next steps, which I think a lot of you are waiting for. So thank you for your patience with me on that. So why? Why did I write the book? It's a big question. I wrote The Peer Revolution because the pandemic showed me, and I think showed a lot of us, that the world is not where it needs to be yet. And that is why those of us who are community builders, who work in the space of curating connection and belonging, have a responsibility to adapt our skill sets to what is needed today. In 2014, I did my first TED Talk, and in it, I shared the spark that would become this book nearly 10 years later. And I shared a radical idea that since 2014 has impacted tens of thousands of leaders in Fortune 500 companies and small family-owned businesses and scout troops and support groups for parents across companies and industry to create connection, ignite contribution, not just with each other, but to pay it forward to the people that mattered in their companies, in their communities, and most importantly, curated belonging. Not with me, but with one another as peers. The Peer Revolution is about unleashing the fullness of humanity when we are in community, with one goal: to make the world a better place for all people. All right, so if that's the why, what's the what? What's the book about? The book is about group coaching, of course, and different group coaching than what has traditionally been known as group coaching. So let's take a step back. As coaches, whether we are leadership coaches or executive coaches or life coaches, we go to coaching school to learn how to coach one-on-one. And some of us over the years have adapted that one-on-one coaching into this concept of group coaching. And that is what we as coaches or leadership development professionals have known: group coaching, where there's one coach and 6 to 8 coachees, where the coach is the focal point and the coach acts as a mirror to reflect back learnings to the coachees. But that's limited. That means that one coach can impact at max 6 to 8 people. What we have figured out is the magic of creating groups of 24, 30, 60, 75, 100 more of coachees with one group coach. Because instead of being the mirror that reflects back the learning to the 6 coachees, we create the space for the coachees to become peer coaches to one another, igniting more possibilities and greater impact than that one coach could ever do on its own or their own. So it's a how-to book, quite frankly. And each chapter at the end has some thought sparks to focus on the application of the learning in that chapter, whether it's about the framework or different aspects of the framework, or at the end, how to bring it to life. And the peer revolution is not my story. Some of you have been asking about that. Is it a memoir? Is it like, nope. The peer revolution is your story. It is the story of, quite practically, 68 Edge grads who have shared their stories with us through the vehicle that is this book. Because we could not write a book called The Peer Revolution and not have it built by the peers themselves. So 68 stories, case studies, and thousands more of other voices in compilation throughout. I spent the last 15 years creating, endlessly iterating, much to my husband's chagrin, because I've never been satisfied. We trademarked this model in 2014. We spent the last 8 years coaching and mentoring and training coaches to build out a company that could change the world. And then the pandemic hit. And people began to awaken to the value of meaningful connection in groups that we hadn't seen before. And what we were doing at Edge Leadership simply wasn't enough. Walls are coming down. Perspectives are shifting. And I needed to too. It was no longer enough to have a successful business and support the big companies and the work that they were doing. I want to do that, and I want to share the tips and tricks and techniques and pretty much all that we do and open source it. Share the framework with the world. So does that mean that all of my competitors are now going to know exactly how to do what it is that we are doing? Absolutely. And I hope you do. Because the world needs more connection and belonging now than ever before. And I, for one, think that is only going to intensify as time goes on. It's not enough for us to keep this and just focus on growing our business. Because remember, the whole reason why I started it was to change the world. All right, so now you know the what. Who's the who? Who's the book for? I think that where we are right now, with all of the opportunities that these times bring and all the challenges that these times bring, that we are in the space as leaders to be learners first. And notice I didn't just say coaches. So when I started writing the book, the audience, the intended audience was coaches, either external coaches who have their own practice, one-on-one coaching, and want to amplify their impact and their revenue and start doing group coaching. The other intended audience at first was internal coaches. So, I've had the privilege of being both an in-house coach and an external coach. And I know full well the value that this brings to in-house coaches, leadership development professionals, CHROs, anyone in that learning space. And then we did a peer review on the book last fall. So a peer review is when you are writing a book like this and you have an advanced copy and you send it out to your intended audience to get feedback. So we sent it out to some external coaches, we sent it out to some internal coaches and leadership development professionals, and we also sent it out to a handful of executives. Now, my intent in that was because I often, as a leader, will read all different kinds of books looking for a nugget that I could apply as a people leader with my team. And I also know that there are a lot of books in my space, the coaching space, where the language doesn't resonate with executives. It's maybe a little too fluffy for them, their words, not mine, because I love my fluff. But it was really important to me that whatever our finished book looked like, whatever it looked like, that it also landed with people leaders, because people leaders are, quite frankly, my clients at the end of the day. It's who we serve at Edge Leadership. And the feedback with the executives that came back is they said, you're thinking too narrowly in terms of the book. Yes, it's for coaches, but boy, you have an opportunity if you tweak this and you change this and you add this, that this book is bigger than that. This book is about curating connection and belonging for anyone who is a people leader. And quite frankly, even if you aren't a people leader, but you are a matrix leader, or you're an individual contributor tasked with fostering and enhancing connections on a team, remote or hybrid, because, oh, by the way, our group coaching model is 100% virtual, and it was 75% virtual before the pandemic even happened. So who else is it for? Honestly, folks, I don't know the answer to that yet. I am hopeful that as you read the book, as you share the book, that you will take it to audiences that I haven't even intended in the writing. What we do know is that the model works for organizations around leadership development. We know that it works with board directors. We know that it works with executives and C-suite leaders. We know that it works with early career leaders and young people right out of college assimilating to the corporate environment. We, of course, know it works with mid-career leaders. We also know that it works with groups of more than 1,000 and that it works with scout troops and parent support groups. So who's the audience? I'm looking forward to you showing me who the audience is. Okay, now you know the why, the what, the who, which is still unfolding. What's the request for support? What are the next steps? So my publisher was really clear that no one successfully sells a book or a new idea alone, especially a big, hairy, audacious idea like this. So just like I didn't write it alone, it's full of the thousands of voices who created and built peer technology into what it is today. This book will not get into the hands of the people that it is meant to without your help. And so it is important and vulnerable for me to ask for your help today. 2 ways that you can help. The first is join our book launch team. There will be a special live coming out with all the details of the book launch team and what is involved. And if you are interested in stepping into that space over the course of the next month and helping us launch this book, not only will you get a personalized copy of it from me, and you'll get an invitation to a very special Q&A behind the scenes with the book, Zoom with me this month. You'll of course get invited to the book launch party, and there will be a bonus group coaching experience for everyone in the book launch team this spring. Your peers from across the country that you can contribute to and be contributed by. Because the best thank you I could give you being a part of the book launch team is to give you the gift of experiencing group coaching at its best with some of the very best of our grads and leaders across companies and industries. So that's the first opportunity, and it's a good one. Second opportunity is buy the book. Please buy the book, share the book, write a review, especially if you buy it online. Algorithms matter. And no matter how good I think the idea is and the impact that it has, people aren't going to know it exists unless we have reviews online. And we are looking into a number of bookstores because we don't just want to support the big, we want to support the small. So as you have ideas for great bookstores across the country to partner with, drop me a note, let me know, because that matters too. So that's it. The why, the what, the who, and the request for support. And I want to close today simply by saying thank you. Thank you to the vulnerable and courageous storytellers who gave us permission to share your stories in the book, whether you are quoted officially or not. In the words of Brene Brown, thank you for showing us that it is possible to be both brave and afraid at exactly the same time. And secondly, thank you for joining me today, for being interested to find out what the peer revolution was all about, and for supporting me as I dream bigger than I have ever dreamt before. And I can't leave here today without inviting you to do the same. Where could you dream bigger in your life? And if it feels too big to achieve on your own, how could you ask for support from those around you? Because I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it. And for you, it may not be a book, it may be something else. But I invite you to notice where you may be holding yourself back because you don't think it is possible. Because what if it is? So thank you. You know, writing the book was hard. Asking for help from the people I admire is harder. But together, I am confident we can make the world a brighter place of belonging for all. And in a room full of light, we no longer feel alone. Onward.